Welcome to Canterbury. Why don't you come in? I'll show you around.
All right.
So this is our building. This used to be, just Tony being pious. It used to be an old home, but it's functioned as a church for quite a while now. Since the, well, quite a while, it's all relative I suppose. Since the early 90s, it started being kind of a home away from home for students from the university. And then towards the end of the 90s, that shifted over to actually functioning as a church. And to be honest, it works better as a church than I think it probably ever did as a house. I tell most people that we worship in an old house, and they think that we're in, carpeted floors and, your typical building. This is not it. It's a beautiful building. It was built in like 1927 by a man named, with the last name of Himeno, and he built it for his dad, who was an art professor here at OU. And his dad actually hand painted a few of the things in here and designed some of the architecture pieces. And then it's been passed down from the dean of the law school to different professors, and then eventually was passed down to a family member, and then then sold to the church. And so I was a student here back in the early 2000s, and this is where I worshiped. And yeah, let me show you around a little bit more.
Let's do it.
So this is kind of a home away from home for students. They're here in between classes. They park here, watch TV, take naps, all of the necessary college-y things. And so this kind of is I would say the heart of what we do. We have worship in one room, and in the kitchen and dining room, we eat meals together just about every Sunday. And so that's what this space is dedicated towards. And here's our kitchen. Everything's pretty much newly remodeled. The diocese has been very generous helping us kind of get our building up to date. It would kind of fall into some disrepair, and because it was such an old building, needed to be updated to really function for us. And so here's the kitchen. This is just an incredible blessing. We use this to cook meals every Sunday. We're having chili tonight. Y'all are welcome to come. Students will cook meals here. They put stuff in the fridge for lunches and things like that. And so this is one of the banes of my existence, to be honest though. If you can imagine your own children not doing dishes, and then expand that into 25 18 to 22-year-olds, and you understand a little bit of what I go through every week, but worth it. It's incredible to have this space to be able to give to them. So when we were remodeling and getting some furniture and things, we're trying to figure out the best ways to use the space, right? So we wanted to be really intentional about how we actually use it. And so one of the big things is students are here between classes. And so like this next space, for example, we wanted to be kind of a place where they could be between classes if they're just stopping in for a minute and then going on their way. Like I said, a lot of the students park here. We all leave our keys on the banister. Everyone moves each other's cars, and we just play kind of shell game constantly all day long. But between classes, people will kind of hang out in here. It's right and easy shot of the front door, so you can always see who's coming and going. And this is kind of just our kind of hangout area. This next area is where we can compliment.
Hold on, let me get some of this. I love the leather. It's so homey.
Yeah, we wanted to pick out stuff that was really kind of classic, but also super comfortable and durable. So yeah.
Okay.
So this is our Compline room. We do Compline every Wednesday night at like 9:30. A little late, I know, but a little different clientele. And so we all sit around this area. We put our candles and cross out, and we spend about an hour or so at Compline. Compline's kind of our really informal, quiet space. We do lots of sharing of prayers, intercessions, thanksgivings, and it's probably one of the most precious moments of our week, and definitely the most liked by the students. So Yeah. Here, I'll introduce people. So this space is our newest kind of space. This used to be a garage about a year and a half ago, but we totally remodeled it to be. We have some students in here. We remodeled this space to be the hangout room. All right, this is Zeke and Jack, and Kyle.
Hey.
They are been coming here for a couple years, so this place is pretty new to them actually. But during game days, we lift up the garage and tailgate, and then watch movies in here. It's just kind of our casual hangout spot, but where you'll find people the most who aren't studying or something like that.
That's so cool.
Kyle won. Kyle won again.
Oh, nice job.
All right, Jack, you go first.
Oh, mine again.
And so people are constantly walking by. We've got probably the best location of any campus ministry. It is pretty awesome to be here. So one of the coolest things about the building, other than being gorgeous, of course, is that we're like right on campus. So you'll notice this building right here. This is where I spent my whole undergrad as a philosophy major. Was Dale Hall Tower. It's one of the biggest buildings on campus, and just kind of a hub. And then our ovals, we have a north and south oval, and it's literally just past that building. And so constant foot traffic every single day. Thousands of people walk by this intersection every single day. Game days are awesome because there are just tailgates everywhere, and you can hear the music from the stadium. The stadium is literally about 1,000 feet that way, and you just can't beat it. It is one of our greatest blessings and resources being right here on campus. They park here. And so it's just right where they need to be. And so we're right in the heart of kind of how they live here on campus. So upstairs, for as long as I've been a student here, these stairs were covered in carpet. And then when we were doing our remodeling, we found out that the hardwoods that go throughout the whole upper floor were perfect and awesome. And so they were very loud during service, but this part of the beauty of the building. This room right here is our kind of formal living room. This is if you have a group meeting for class or something like that, use this room. And we do some Christian education up here. Kind of a quiet, off the beaten path area. So if you want to sit down and read a book somewhere comfortable, you don't want to be down in the garage where people are watching a movie, or in the dining room where people are eating lunch. Then you hang out up here. We have a ton of bathrooms throughout the whole place, most of which were remodeled in the past year or so. So this is just kind of a nice, cozy place to hang out if you're wanting a quiet spot.
Very cool.
This is our study. This has always been kind of a sitting room, but when we remodeled, we really needed a spot where people could print stuff and be on the computer and have a place to spread their books out and study in either a small group or by themselves. And so we created this space to really focus on what it is the students are doing here, which is going to school. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to integrate this building into their everyday lives, trying to make it so that there's a reason for them to be here. And when they're here, they get to interact with their brothers and sisters in Christ in very intentional ways. And so whether that be studying or eating or watching a movie, we have almost an intentional community, something set apart. That in anything you do in your life between 18 and 22, or maybe 25 if you're going to grad school, you can do it inside the church, and you can do it with a group of people that you worship with, that you eat with, that you hang out with. And so that's really what we're dedicated to, and this building is the hub of that. It is the kind of heartbeat of who we are, and how we spend time together, how we interact. And so study is part of that. It is why we've gathered together as a group. So we want to embrace that. So this is a wonderful space. And then this is my office. Honestly, I don't spend a whole lot of time here. This is more used for me if I need to talk to somebody, if someone's going through a crisis. if they've just broken up with somebody, if they are having trouble with their parents, if they're trying to figure out what it is they're supposed to be doing in life. We come here, and it's quiet, it's set apart. The students know that this is kind of an off-limits area, even though they're welcome to use it, but that's really the purpose of this space. And so we want it to be comfortable, casual. We want it to be a place where people can feel at home. I do premarital counseling in here, things like that. So it's an office in maybe one sense, but honestly, I'm rarely up here unless it's a one-on-one interaction with somebody.
Beautiful.
Yep. I think I saw a date of when the ministry started. It's kind of hard to keep up with it kind of stuff because people are always here for a very temporary amount of time, right? Like all the students are here for 3 years or 5 years, and then they're gone. And kind of the same thing for chaplains, right? There aren't a whole lot of lifelong chaplains out there. And so kind of institutional memory is actually a really huge struggle. And so like I kind of have to piece it together as I go. So I think I saw a date written down somewhere that like the ministry was started in 1912. So we're a little over 100 years old. But we've only been in this building for maybe 20 years, 25, something like that. But there's a lot of history here, although no one knows it, right? Like I know it because I was a student here. And I have people, on game days, I'll have people who are walking up and down the sidewalks, and suddenly they'll stop in and say, I was a student here back in the 80s or back in the 90s. And they talk about past chaplains and stuff like that. There's only one chaplain still living other than myself, actually, which is another hard thing. And so you kind of have to piece together the history of the place as you go, because there's not a lot of that institutional memory. Here's one of my students. This is Skylar. He's our student body president and my intern, and so he has kind of the responsibility of kind of holding the community together. He is my right-hand man. I don't have a deacon. I don't have any other staff other than an organist on Sundays. And so to have somebody who can kind of help me and who's just as passionate about things, maybe more passionate about a liturgy and things like that than I am, is awesome. Introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit about.
Hi, I'm Skylar. I've been the student body president here since January of this year. I guess it started as being a spiritual home for me, and there aren't a whole lot of places around campus where you can go to feel not only like spiritually challenged but completely supported. And through the way I was treated here, I became more and more passionate about it. So I decided to step up and have a
little bit of leadership
in the community.
You have a wide range of students who come through here, right? You have people who just need something on Sunday, right? Like they've always gone to church, they always want, that's just what they do. You have students who really need a place between Sundays, who are here for the community and things like that. Skylar is one of those unique kind of combinations. He really loves church, he's passionate about it, even though he's relatively new to the Christian faith. I mean, obviously grew up in Oklahoma, so you know, but really dedicated to himself over the past few years. And so to have his leadership and just excitement about what it means to be a Christian here in this place, on this campus, is awesome. What would you say is like the top maybe one or two things that's unique about Canterbury?
Well, I mean, it is, I think we tend to think of it as more of an intentional community than just a church. So it's not very often that you can find something that nourishes you throughout the week, not just on a Sunday, but the doors are always open for the students. And I think that having a sense of home on campus is really important. And I think that's what this has become for a lot of us.
Yeah, we really focus on being an open and affirming community. Not just in like the sense that, oh, churches are open and affirming, but a place where people actually feel safe, who they can actually be themselves. And so we've really committed ourselves to that kind of ministry where no matter who walks in the doors, they're going to feel like they could be a part of this place, or at least be accepted for who they are. Probably about, would you say 50% of our students are LGBT, somewhere on there, maybe?
50% or more probably.
Maybe more. And we've got a couple of transgender students, and just really committed to kind of making sure that people who might not feel welcome in other Christian communities, other campus ministries, feel like this is an important place, and a place worth being in. This is Tony. Tony is maybe one of my longest students at this point. Tony just finished up his master's in
counseling. Well, Master's of Human Relations with a focus in clinical mental health counseling.
Yep.
And what's cool about this guy is he was my camp counselor when I was like 15, so he's seen the whole progression of Tony.
and quite a progression it has been. Yeah.
Most of the time, we have to be on our best behavior.
This is Sarah. Sarah, you are almost done
Yeah,
here.
I'm a senior.
That is very sad.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things is saying goodbye. Like if I'm lucky, I have someone for 3 years. If I'm really lucky, I have someone for 4 years. Sarah came in as a freshman.
Yeah.
In fact, she was one of the few people that someone sent me a message saying, this person is coming, make sure you see them. She came in like the first day.
Yeah, it was Mother Emily. Schnabel,
Yep. And you've been a member of St. Anselm the whole time. What do you think is the biggest change since you've been here?
The building has obviously changed quite a bit, but honestly the community's changed a lot as people leave. The cyclical nature of this place is really interesting.
Yeah, the community is completely different. Probably every 2 years. It feels like it goes through a huge shift and change.
Yeah.
It is exhausting.
Yeah, sure.
Why have you stuck around for 4 years?
I mean, I'm cradle Episcopalian, so the comforts of the Episcopal Church is always gonna bring me back. But I also really like the community. I really like how you run things.
I didn't tell her to say that.
I love working with Clint during services. I feel like even though a lot of the friends I made when I first got here have gone, they're still present sometimes. Like we still have like group chats that are active, and I still talk with them. And I really like a lot of the people who are here now. Like it's just really cool to grow with people and help other people grow when they get here.
So you're going to be gone in a semester.
Yeah.
And you're going to find another Episcopal church. What do you think you'll look for? What do you think you picked up from this place that you'll look for in your next place?
Definitely open-mindedness.
Yeah.
I came from a really big church, and this has kind of shown me that smaller churches are nice too. I definitely didn't think that way before. I was like, I can't do a small church. I have to be in a big church.
Yeah. Big churches and big choirs, which is important to you.
Yeah. But I can also be in a choir somewhere where I don't necessarily believe and still go home to the Episcopal Church.
Yeah. Sarah is, did we say that you're a voice major?
No.
Yeah, so she is the person who carries us during, I mean, we have a lot of really good singers, but to have one singer who is
trained.
exceptional, who can take the descant and just run with it, and then everyone else has to up their game in order to try and drown her out. It's impossible. We always lose, but we try really hard. But it is such a gift to have so many like talented, special people. That's one of the coolest things is everyone has something they're passionate about. Everyone is pursuing something, and sometimes we get people whose talents really overlap with some of the wonderful things we do. And so having singers, we have several music majors, probably more so than any other major actually.
Now, it's very different than when I
So
got here.
it really shapes what we do. It really shapes what we do. We try and incorporate that. Because I would say when I first came here, music was good, but it wasn't something that was part of our identity.
We did a lot more guitar music then too.
Yeah, that's true. And as kind of we've gotten more singers and musicians, that's kind of shaped who we are and what our worship looks like.
Well, and we're not so camp focused now either.
Yeah, well, we had a big group of people who are kind of focused on camp. Now we have, just a handful of people. Most of the people in the community come from a completely different background. I would say we're only probably half Episcopalian.
Yeah.
Maybe. And I'd say about a quarter of the people who go here probably weren't involved with any church before here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of really shapes who we are. But we'll be really sad to see Sarah go here in a little bit. I try and convince them to take their master's programs here, but it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
There's always a chance to change your mind.
There's a lot of stuff I could say about that, but I'm not going to.